Starting your morning off right, we got money up by nothing.
Hello.
JV. Only on WEBLACK Radio. As soon as I get my we got money up by nothing. Hello. We just got paid. As soon as I get my money up. Hey. Come on, people. It is time. We are gonna go on a ride tonight. Come on in. We are rocking it with JV. I'm setting up. I'm sharing my pages. Are you sharing your page? Are you inviting your friends to this inspired conversation? How are you starting 2021? Come on in now. Hey, I got my money up. Yeah. Hey, I got my money up. Woo. I'm loving you people tonight. I am just grooving. I'm in the mood. I got JV, Jordan Viera. Woo. So it is time. I know. I just, when I get into the music, I just don't want to stop. Woo. Hey Keith, how you doing? Welcome. Hope you had a good travel. I'm not sure if you're here or if you're abroad still. Hey Auntie Anne-Marie, welcome in. Hey Joan, welcome in. Let me know you're here. Drop some comments in the live. Hey. It's January and I don't have any wine, but I'm toasting everybody. Come on in. Yes. So before we get officially started here, I invite you to get comfy, to sit back, get some snacks, get your water, get a notepad. I'm just saying, you never know when some wisdom keys are going to drop on a live with Coco and Nicole. Because, she's my iron sharpener, y'all. So it's going to get lit up in here. And I'm just so grateful for Coco for allowing me to share some music by her beloved son, Jordan, our JV. Yeah. What up? Yep. And I'm just thanking everybody who is joining in live and on the replay. Thank you. Tonight, we are going to have fun. It is the first Monday of 2021, y'all. 2021. I say 2 and 1 make 3, so it's a number of manifestation, and we're going to have a good time because we're going to manifest some victory in the year of 2021. So for those of you now joining in, I am Nicole Karen Virginia Waldron. Yes, that's my full name. I'm saying it because it's my birth week, y'all. It is my birth week, and it's my new year. My new year starts on my birthday. I'm just saying. And this is Victory Speaks, the Inspired Conversation series where iron sharpens iron. And I'm your host, Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission, y'all. I'm on a mission to inspire you to live a victorious lifestyle. This Inspired Conversation series is just one of the ways that this year I'll be doing that. We have many conversations all the time. Good, fat, funny, ugly, bad. You call it, you name it, we have it. But in fact, the most beautiful thing that we have is conversations with friends, associates, loved ones that just inspire us to be better than we are, to be our best selves. And I decided last year I wanted to share some of those conversations with you. And I am excited by my guest today. She is a woman that I have had numerous conversations with, too numerous to mention. She's my friend. She's a mentor. She's my life coach. She's one of my sister friends. You say, Different mother, same father. That's the Heavenly Father, y'all. And she is one of my iron sharpeners. She is an award-winning motivational international speaker. She's a corporate trainer and life skills coaching practitioner. She has over 25 years of experience in the business. And I'm saying more than 25. You're hearing me? And she's changing and affecting lives. She has and continues to pour into the lives of youth and women and young men and grown men, because now she's rocking it at a whole nother level. Because we're in Clubhouse, y'all. We're gonna tell you all about that when we get to talking. And so whether she's speaking to a group of high school or college students, or coaching a group of powerful men or women and leaders in the corporate world, or she's just encouraging someone who has just lost their way, whether it is someone who is a sex trafficker, or a mom experiencing teenage pregnancy, someone dealing with a mental illness, she is just taking people to the next level. And now she also utilizes her gift of gab with her voice of singing and poetry, spoken word. And she uses her lived experience and professional expertise to inspire us all, not just to survive distress and find, the triumph in the trauma. She also teaches us how to grieve with grace. I'm going to say that again. Grieve with grace and thrive by design. People, get your fingers ready. Get your thumbs ready. Get some ready, because let me tell you, that's one drum roll. She just deserves this. And she's coming. She's coming. She's coming, y'all. It is Coco LaRain Viera, y'all. Bringing her up to the stage. Now, if my computer would work tonight, that would even be better, y'all. It would even be better if my computer would do what it's supposed to do. Because for some reason, okay, I know why it's not doing. Okay, we got to do this all over again, y'all. Here she is, Miss Coco. My computer was just messing up there, baby girl. Woo!
How are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm good. I had to get the African drum roll. I had to get the traditional applause. I just had to get everything to bring you up here. It's New Year's, man. And all are loving it. Mark Muska, Serena, Joan Pierce on the line. People are tuned in and they're showing you love, my friend.
Oh, well, I just want to say I love you. Because you are all that and a bag of chips with a coconut lime on the side, sweetheart. And I could not have gone through my life without you. I could not have made it through the last year and a half without you. I could not. There's just no way. You are a gift to me personally. God made you for me and everybody else. I'm just saying.
So you know how we're going to be rocking it out tonight. I just want to say thank you to everybody who is taking the time to tune in tonight. Yeah. This conversation, who else I could start this year out? I was like, God said, the only person you can start this year out with, baby girl, is Miss Coco, because she sharpens you and you sharpen her. And as we get into this new year, everybody likes to make these New Year resolutions and fail miserably. And we have learned to let's take it in nuggets. Let's take it in chunks. Let's take it in weekly bites, monthly bites, quarterly bites, and find a way, especially after last year. Come on now, to still find some victories, to find the opportunities in the crisis. So let's get this conversation started. How's your day doing now?
I am doing fantastically well, actually. I just had a great conversation with one of my coaches, and he's spitting some gems, and I discovered some things that I want to share tonight that had these beautiful aha moments, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm on fire. I really feel good. I'm glad to be on here with you on the Victory Speaks podcast, where iron sharpens iron, right? And we inspire people to live extraordinary lives that are victorious, all that in a bag of chips. So I appreciate this platform. Thank you for having me on it for the second time.
Come on now. I listen. It is so strategic when you allow your steps to be ordered, because you ended the year, and you were the one who really inspired me to do this. And now you're starting the year with me. So when we look at 2020, and you look at the pandemic, how did you navigate it? Did you find some victories in 2020 before we dive into 2021? What were your victories in 2020? Let's do a recap because we didn't do like that recap December 31st.
What were my victories? I think one of the greatest victories that I had was developing my Grieving with Grace secrets. Learning how to mourn in beautiful places, knowing that I could be at peace and in pain at the very same time, right? Where I could let the tears fall, but in a way that my heart was soothed. So, because it's been a painful year, one of the most painful years in my entire life,
right?
And so it's not about just surviving; it's how you survive. You know, and I'm so grateful that I found those strategies that you and I found at the Ritz. We talked about that story, the last one, right? Where we recognize the power of mourning in beautiful places. So that way, when the year is out, my nervous system is still intact. You know what I mean? That I am not a nervous wreck, because we can go through trauma. The trauma will hurt us. And then the impact of the trauma on your body, on your mind, on your spirit, on your goals, on your lifestyle can exasperate the problem. And then you're kind of getting through the trauma, but your body it has to go into this recovery mode. And so because I took the time to grieve with grace, to mourn in a beautiful place, to soothe my soul as the devastating tears came, now I can say that my body wasn't the victim of the pain.
So, I love we're starting here, because I know there are a few people on the line right here, right now, and I'm looking at all of them who have recently, within the last 2 weeks, some within the last couple days, some within the last month, have lost loved ones. And Coco, you said to me, you gave me permission to play the intro of your son, Jordan, who transitioned in June 2019. That's right. And so as we talk about mourning in beautiful places, before we get into 2021, I think it's important to share how you were able to deal with that grief, because so many people, you say grieving with grace, and you talk about mourning in beautiful places. And so some people may not even know about that mourning in beautiful places, how you were able to transition to mourning in beautiful places. So I don't know where you want to start, but even just through that process of processing the loss of one of the most important people in your life. How did you do that?
Well, first of all, I went to some beautiful places, and I didn't know that it was going to have the impact. They were beautifully, like, happy accidents, right? So I remember the day that it was about a few days when he transitioned. We left the hospital, and you brought me to the radio station to do the interview. And then the reason people kept saying to me, "You're so strong. How could you have done an interview?" No, I was numb. Don't get it twisted. I was numb. My emotions were numb. I was in shock, and I probably fell into a default mode because I'd been speaking already for 20 some odd years. So it was easy for me to speak. It was my default mode. But after the interview, we went out to eat, and we were going to go to. You said, "Let's go to the Ritz," and I was like, "The Ritz." And I was like, "No, we can just go to this other restaurant over here. It's all good. It's all fine." And you were like, "No, you were insistent." But I said, "No. I was sensitive to the fact that that I just didn't feel like I wanted to be fancy. I didn't feel like I wanted to be happy. I didn't feel like I wanted to enjoy myself without my son. I was like, I don't want to be in the Ritz because Jordan's not here, and he's never going to get to come to the Ritz with me.
Right.
I almost felt guilty at the idea of enjoying a good fancy meal. And then I heard my son's voice. "Mom, if I was here, I would make you go to the Ritz." He said, "Go to the Ritz, Mom." Right? So I said, okay. And so we went, and as soon as I walked into that space, it was. I mean, we should get Ritz to the Ritz to
Maybe Ritz could sponsor this show.
my podcast. I talk
Grieving
about
with
the Ritz a
Grace.
lot.
Grieving with Grace. The whole series.
But yeah, so what happened was we're sitting there in the restaurant and the food smelled good and the music was nice and the smells, the taste of the food was good. And every single one of my senses was being stimulated in the most powerful way. And I started to cry. But the beautiful thing was the tears were being held in this beautiful space. Yes. My body was relaxed. You grabbed my hand. We cried together. The waiter saw us crying. He brought us some breakfast dessert.
Yes.
And
the best breakfast dessert we ever had, honey.
It was some good dessert though, wasn't it?
Girl, shoot.
And at that moment, the idea of mourning in beautiful places started to bud in my heart. And I went, wait a second. I don't just have to mourn in my bed, curled up in a ball by myself in the dark, eating sour cream and onion chips. Right? I actually could feel the tremendous pain in the middle of paradise. Right? My girlfriend, the other Nicole in my life, brought me to a concert. And again, the guilt came. I shouldn't be happy right now. But she said she made me come. She said, you and Shamaya and her daughter and Asia and her. We all went to this beautiful concert. We went and had dinner first. I'm in this nice restaurant, and I was crying on my steak, and I cried all over my chocolate cake, and it was okay, And then we went into this concert, and the concert hall was gorgeous, and the music was beautiful, and I bawled the whole concert. Quietly, mind you. It wasn't like I didn't disturb anybody. It was quiet.
Yeah.
But again, it was this moment of, wait a second. This pain of missing my son is so tremendous and so breathtakingly excruciating. Why not experience that horror in a relaxed state of mind?
Yes.
In a soothe, where my soul is soothed, where my body is relaxed. And I decided at that point that I was going to drive to Washington, D.C., which is one of my favorite places to be, and just be around beauty. And I just I went to North Carolina and stayed with my aunt in her beautiful home. And because I needed to be around beautiful, I went to the beach and I sat there and I bawled at the beach, and I bawled in the restaurant called JoJo's, and I were listening to the most beautiful music. And I met who is now my best friend.
Right.
One of my best friends named, Aaron Hill, who's an amazing piano player. And we developed a friendship. And I'm realizing that grieving with grace, the foundation of that is that I'm going to give myself grace as I grieve.
And that, to me, was such a victory moment for you, because from my standpoint, it was like where you were choosing whether you were going to live.
That's right.
And be alive, because you could be in this state and not be alive.
That's right.
And if just thinking of anybody listening here, why is that so important to take that, to put grace on yourself and to find those beautiful places? Because I know that was hard to get for you.
Yeah. I had children, 2 beautiful daughters that I needed to take care of, and 2 wonderfully amazing grandchildren that needed me. I had a destiny on the earth. I was still alive. I sat there on the beach in North Carolina and I said, look, I'm ready to go and see Jordan. So let's do this. Like, heart, you can stop now. That's how, and as much as I wanted to see him, I also wanted to stay here. It was equal. There was nothing. I wanted to stay and be a wonderful mother to my girls, and I wanted to leave and go find Jordan. It was 2 worlds colliding. And I said, but guess what? The truth is, I'm not in control necessarily of when I leave the earth. And then the thought popped into my head, what about suicide? There are people who have put guns to their head and the bullet did not come out. There are people that have tried to commit suicide and it wasn't their time, and they tried to complete suicide and it never got completed. Right? So I'm choosing to believe that our time is not determined by us. So therefore, if I am still here, there's a reason why I'm still here. And I remember looking in the mirror and I saw my face looking like it was distorted.
Right.
I saw the pain written all over my face. And I went, oh, hell no, I am too cute to go out like this. Oh, no. And I realized, no. I want, if I'm going to have to live with this broken heart, I'm going to choose to live well.
Amen to that. And you're speaking so well. You're really speaking to the heart of so many. Like Serena is like, my God, grieve with grace. I'm trying to keep grieving with grace. It's hard. And then she also says, this is so timely for me. Thank you for talking about grieving with grace and mourning in beautiful places. And as I think about it, I think there was an honoring that you did. It's so important for us to honor those that have passed on, because what a disservice that we're doing to them when, even though we're in the pain, they're gone. And if we stay, I just think of, Jordan wanting to see you like low and not functioning. That's not what your loved one would want for you.
He said, I heard him say, Mommy, I did not die to destroy you.
Ooh.
It was my time.
Mm.
I didn't die to destroy you. Right? And so I had to let go of all these toxic thoughts that I was carrying, that was exasperating the grief, that was turning the grief toxic.
Right.
They say that there's no wrong way or right way to grieve. I disagree. I think there is a very unhealthy way to grieve, and that is with toxicity, where it's my fault, and I should have done this, and why did this happen, and this is not fair, and he died too soon, and all those things, like as if I'm God and I have control over what was supposed to happen and what wasn't supposed to happen. I am not the creator. I'm a part of creating, and so I had to really wrestle with my role as a mom. Am I a portal for this life, or was I completely responsible for it? Because the mom guilt is redonkulous when it comes to losing a child. Because we think, right, I'm supposed to keep them alive. Our bodies become like, we give milk to these babies, right? So we're literally giving life to our children, and then when we lose them, I failed. So I had to unpack with a coach, with a counselor, all my toxic thoughts that made the pureness of my grief unbearable. Once I got rid of those toxic thoughts, right, that's when I started to develop the GRACE, which is an acronym, which stands for growth, restoration, acceptance, creativity, and empowerment, because I'm an acronym nerd. And it helps me remember because I'm dyslexic. Yeah. So I knew that I had to grow, right? There's such a thing as post-traumatic growth versus post-traumatic stress.
Wow.
And so I knew that I had to make that choice. I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm not going out like this. If I'm going to have to be here, then I'm going to have to be here well. And I'm going to take every toxic thought that is causing my grief to be exasperated, and I'm going to shut it down. And I'm going to start to think true thoughts so that I can actually miss my son. Because there were moments when I was in the bed and I was crying about my guilt for not saving him. I was crying about every mistake that I made in my teenage years as his mom, in my young 20s as his mom. I was crying about who I let down. I was crying about the fact that my life was hard, that I had and then I was no longer crying about Jordan. Right. I was no longer crying about Jordan.
You were in guilt.
I was in guilt. I was in shame. I was in fear. I was in anger. I was in blame. I was every other emotion except missing.
I'm like the love hearts are coming. People are hearing you. Post-traumatic growth. They're hearing this, Coco.
Yeah.
They are really hearing this. And the toxic thoughts. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Because we don't realize how we've been socialized with these personal ideas of what grief is supposed to look like. And if being guilty, being happy. Yeah. Being guilty because, even someone has an accident and they're alive and you still feel guilty because you feel joy. And what was one of the things that helped you embrace get back to self and receive joy, some joy again. I know you're not feeling joyful every day, and I know not every day is happy, because the true thing is, the person that one of the people that you've loved the most, you have 3 children, is no longer here in this physical earth realm with you. But I mean, at 26, he left a legacy and then some, that some people, we don't even know what he did in 26 years. Just still blows my mind. Yeah. But how do you like reconcile with that? And I'm looking at the hearts, and I'm looking at the comments of people just wanting to be able to find some of that joy, some of that peace, and embracing that and releasing that guilt. I know I've said a lot.
Yeah. But it's good. What you said is good. I think there's a few things. So when Jordan passed away, I think about my children as my world. They were my world. And Jordan was my Africa. Imagine looking at the world and Africa is gone.
Woo!
The continent of Africa is disappeared. Right? That's what it felt like in my heart. Okay. I love Europe. Europe was still there. North America, right? I love American fried chicken. Those are my girls. They were still there.
Yeah.
But Africa was gone. And then I saw my grandson, who looks just like my Jordan, and there was a little tiny Africa.
Yeah.
In the middle of the missing Africa.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, legacy.
Yes.
So my grandchildren are the main thing that keep me going. There's that loved one that you have that's here. And a lot of times when we grieve, we push away the ones that are loved ones. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want to feel good. Don't ask me how I'm doing. You push people away. But I couldn't push my grandchildren away. They're grandma.
Yeah.
They're 4
here, and they want your love. They need
my love, right? And so that was one thing. And then also I said, well, I said, I still want to be Jordan's mom in this physical realm. I know spiritually I'm his mom. He's a spirit, and energy doesn't die or can't be destroyed. But what can I do to still be his mom? And I thought, I'm going to continue his legacy. That's the C in Grace, which is for creative. I decided to write a children's book in his honor about his favorite poem that he created called The 5-Foot Post.
Yes.
We are releasing his music. I'm going to be finishing writing his book, The Black Boy's Brain. We're going to be releasing the documentary that he was working on. And so in doing that, that was the second thing. One thing was the people that are here, my daughters, my grandchildren, my friends, right? The second thing was his legacy, and knowing that I could carry that on and still, ensure that he gets to be a recording artist. I will promote his music and play it 100 million times and what have you. And then build that legacy. There was a third thing that I was saying that just kind of slipped my mind.
The legacy, the book, the music.
Building the legacy. Oh, it just totally slipped my mind. There is a third thing there. Well, I'll go to the fourth thing. Maybe the third thing will come back to me. The fourth thing is that I have a destiny. I have my own destiny to fulfill.
That right there. Yeah. We all have our own destinies to fulfill.
Yeah.
With and without anyone else in our lives.
That's right.
That's right. Huge.
Yeah. And I started to think about purpose of life and why I'm here and what, okay, so if I went through all that trauma in my childhood and all that trauma in my teen years and being a teenage mom, going through all that, and then at the end of the day, Jordan passes away, and that's my prize at the end of the day, that doesn't work. That's not enough. And then I went, wait a second, no, let me switch my thinking to be more positive. That Jordan's transition was part of my journey, as pissed off as that makes me.
Yes.
He's part of it. This was part of it.
Yeah.
And this is part of my destiny. I don't like it, but it is. And so that's the A in Grace, which is acceptance.
Yes.
Right? I'm choosing to accept that I gave birth to a son that was only supposed to live for 26 years.
That deserves a pause. You recognize, it's so, there's a grace that I feel as you say that. Um, you had to come to such a humble place within yourself to recognize that.
Yep.
That's huge, Coco.
They say, there's a saying that, thank you, there's a saying that they say, you know, mothers should never lose their kids. Are you kidding me? Mothers lose their kids every day. That is such a lie. That is a lie that we've been believing. We're telling each other a lie. Parents should never bury their kids. Parents bury their kids every day. Who am I not to bury one of mine?
And then it becomes this narrative. See, that's one of the toxic thoughts.
That's right.
That we don't realize, because you keep rehearsing that, and then you can't even celebrate the life that was here because it's all about the guilt and they shouldn't have been here. And there's even it comes to loss of anything, loss of a job, loss of a relationship. It comes under, this should not have happened. Who are we to say this should not have happened? The fact is it's happened, and how now are you going to deal with it?
That's right. I think about all the mothers who lose a child in the womb, and the guilt that they carry is so toxic, as if it was their fault. I couldn't carry. No, there is a purpose for that 3-week-old, 6 weeks, 24 weeks, whatever it is, right? And so if we can tap into destiny and tap into purpose, yes, it's a very high level of thinking. Yeah. And I get that sometimes I don't want to be so high-minded that I know earthly good.
Come on now.
That, right? So, but there is a place for that. There is a place for that spiritual mind to soothe the broken soul, and the confused mind. And then you have to be practical and drink water and cry while it's happening. I believe it can happen simultaneously. Yes. I can be in pain and as well as believe a higher truth.
Come on now.
The higher truth is not drawing around a cloud. What is it? Drawing a silver lining around a cloud. I'm not trying to draw a silver lining here. Right? I'm saying that this cloud is very, very dark and can feel scary. But I have on my raincoat, and I have on my rain boots, and I have my umbrella. I have a boat on standby. And I'm going to ride this storm in style.
Yes.
And it's going to rain. Listen, none of us get out of this thing called life alive.
Hey! None of us get out of this thing called life alive. That right there.
Yeah. So if it was my son's time, then it makes sense that he recorded his album 2 days before he went into the hospital and then transitioned. It makes perfect sense that he wrote over 300 songs the last 6 months of his life. It makes sense that he did, right? It makes sense. And so I'm learning to just embrace what is. And sometimes what is very painful. But if I embrace it, if I accept it, then it's painful, but it's not toxic pain.
Right.
It's not shameful pain. It's not regretful pain. It's not bitter pain. It's just plain old pain.
Listen, Coco, I told you, people joining this conversation live or on the replay, have pen and paper handy, because you don't know when the nuggets are going to come. And I'm sure none of you expected some nuggets when we're talking about grace and grief, grieving with grace. None of us get out of this alive. Listen, they're loving it here. Choosing to accept one's destiny requires the kind of surrender that's hard to do.
That's right.
And you know what? No matter if the person is young or old, because you can always find the beauty in the ashes. Because what an honor it would be. We only find it honorable. Oh my God. Wow. I could cry right here. We only find honor when we're burying our parents. Why aren't we? You see, that's what you were able to do. You found the honor, and I saw it through the whole thing. There was a whole process of honor. as you laid your son to rest. Through the whole process, everything you did was done with such honor. And despite the pain, you continue to honor his legacy. And you recognize that no matter what age someone is, they leave a legacy. And we do a disservice to them when we allow our emotions to be, and as again, we're not disrespecting anyone with feeling pain or loss, but we don't really honor them.
Yeah, it's a subtle shift from tragic to sacred.
Ooh.
Right. So my son passed away in my arm. Well, he lost his breath in my arms. We went to the hospital. We started his heart again. But things, he couldn't be saved. So, but when he first lost, heart stopped. He was right in, and his head was right in my hands, and I watched it happen. And I and I don't want to get too morbid. I'm very, take a deep breath, everybody. I'm okay. I've told this story. We're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to face this with beauty and love and grace and peace. So for those of you who are watching right now who are hurting, I don't mean to trigger you. I'm very sensitive to the fact that it's a sensitive topic. But for the sake of this conversation, I want to have it. If someone has to step away for a moment and not listen to this part, I understand, because it can be too painful to hear when you're going through it. Right. So, so I want everybody in the room right now. We're talking about heavy things, grab something to drink, take a breath, smell something lovely in the moments to calm your nervous system down. If you're starting to feel anxiety about anything that I'm saying right now, we have a responsibility to the people that are listening. I have been talking about this for a year and a half, but I'm also a motivational speaker, and I've been talking about trauma for 30 years. So it's a little bit easier for me to talk about it because of the type of trauma that I've been dealing with for my entire speaking career. So I can rush through these sentences, but I just want to be sensitive to the people that are listening, that are hearing it for the first time. It's a big concept, and I just want to be very gentle, recognizing, hey, listen, I'm still working through this too myself, and we don't mean harm, but I want to just pay attention for a second. Deep breath in, deep breath out.
Yeah.
Deep breath in, deep breath out.
And very
because I suppose if I was hearing this the week or two after my Jordy passed away, I might have wanted to punch somebody in the throat. I didn't want to hear this. I didn't want to hear hope. I was in devastation. Yeah. Right. So there's that season too, where you're just nothing I say is going to matter to somebody listening to this potentially right now, because they're in such torment and pain, and that's just part of the grieving process, unfortunately. And this too shall pass. So I just wanted to be careful with that. But getting back to the story, so there he was, and every time I remembered that moment when he was in my arms, I would have a panic attack. Yes, because it felt horrific to me. It felt tragic, and I begged God, I begged Jordan, I begged for an answer. I said, I can't think of this, because I was going to remember that moment for the rest of my life. And I didn't want that moment to hold the definition that I gave it, which was horrific tragedy. So I said, I need a new word. I need something else to call it. And then I started listening to this woman who does hospice care. And she said, it's an honor, and it's to accompany someone in that sacred moment. And I went, oh, it wasn't a tragedy. It was a sacred. It wasn't a tragic moment. It was a sacred moment. Yes. Him transitioning from his spirit being in his body to his spirit being free versus him dying. See the difference there? Yep. Him transitioning where his spirit was freed from the confines of his sick body. Yes. Was sacred. And you know what else, Nicole? Coco? But one of the things that just hit for me, that there are many people that are tormenting themselves right now because of COVID. They may not be able to be with their loved one in a hospital that is transitioning. But you said something there, because transitioning ends up being an individual moment. It's one thing for the loved one,
But for the person that is transitioning, they're in a process that is sacred to them.
That's
That
right.
even if you were in the room, there's a part that is just for them.
Yes. And also, I thought about that too, because I was like, well, I better not share this idea of me, it being sacred when I was there with my son, because how many mothers or fathers or cousins or whatever have lost someone and they weren't there? And the answer was destiny.
Mm.
If you were supposed to be there, you would.
Yes.
The kind of pain that I experienced in that moment of him transitioning was almost too much for me to bear.
Yeah.
But it was in my destiny to bear it.
Yeah.
And I believe that sometimes our loved ones transition, so in a way where we're not present to save our loved ones, the ones that we're leaving behind, from carrying that pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I'm still trying to unpack why I was chosen to be there by, I don't know. But I'm not going to turn it into toxicity. I'm going to say it was destiny.
Yeah. It's being careful with that moment, because you can get so lost. And I feel it for so many who are not there holding the hands of their loved ones. But I hope that somewhere in this conversation, that moment doesn't keep them stuck in that place.
Well, we see, because what are we holding on to? We're holding on to the body, or are we holding on to the spirit? If we recognize that the body is not the spirit, then not holding the hand of the person that did that transition in that moment is not what's important. We can be so caught up in the guilt of not holding their hand that we miss holding the spiritual hand.
That right there.
Right?
That right there.
What we miss now, some faith-based people believe that you stay asleep after you die, that there's not this immediate, I don't necessarily believe that, but I loved watching my children sleep.
Yes.
So even if that is the case, and that the spirit is asleep until such time, then watch them sleep. But the idea of reconciling what your faith is and looking at the beautiful side of your faith. I don't want to project my faith on anybody, right? But what I believe, what I had to do, the trick here is to find what belief you can stand upon that is going to ease the pain. I kept searching and searching and searching for another word, another way to think of it, another way to, if it was toxic, I had to get rid of it. I wasn't willing to settle for the toxic. And so I have answers that worked for me that may not work for anybody else. The idea here is for people to begin to look for their own answers to ensure that, to first of all, determine whether or not the thoughts that you're having that surrounding your loved one's loss is toxic. Like the word loss, in my opinion, is toxic. I did not lose my son. He's not lost.
Right.
He's eternal. He's not lost. Wow. So I did not lose my son. Right?
Right.
And so I had to learn how to recondition my mind completely. And when I knew that the truth was profound enough for me to stand on, when it eased the toxic pain.
That's powerful.
So when I heard the word sacred, which was meaningful for me, peace in the middle of my pain. It didn't take the pain of missing my son away. What it took was the toxicity of that moment away.
Right.
Right. So the idea of looking for those answers is part of that formula, the grace formula.
I really thank you for sharing that, Coco. And look, Joan is saying here, I have learned to live with grief by keeping good memories foremost in my mind. The sad moments will pop up. I will tear up at times, but I force myself to the good times, and then I smile. And that's some of the essence of what you're saying, because you can stay one place and we have to really just to move through it. So I really thank you for and we didn't even plan to go here tonight. This is bigger than us. We didn't plan to go here tonight, but I'm so grateful that you did, because as a lot of people, I think, I don't even know if there's anyone in the world that didn't lose someone in 2020. Whether it was from a sickness that was unrelated to COVID or COVID related, someone has been touched by grief in 2020. And so, you spoke about so many things. I'm just gonna, as I say, reel it back a bit and just say thank you for everyone that's listening. Thank you for your comments. It's been an intense but yet beautifully portrayed topic with grace, Coco. And as you talk about post-traumatic growth and legacy and acknowledging and celebrating your loved one, and none of us go out of this world alive, and finding the beauty in the ashes and grieving with grace. And if anyone is who is listening right now to this portion and in the live and in the replay, know that Coco does have a program called Grieving with Grace. And so if you just need some more insights, be sure to DM her. You saw her link in the description, and we'll be sure to share it at the end, because this is a heavy topic, and Coco being able to share that her son transitioned in 2019, and she had to move through that grace with grace in 2020, and even now, and every day looks differently because some days are harder than some. Yeah. So it's very important. Before we get into the next piece, you said there was something that I think might be valuable to others, that you said Jordan had this thing called So Sorry for those of you who have experienced your loss. I see Sarah saying lost 3 people dear to me in 2020.
Oh, Sarah.
So very grateful for this conversation, and I'm really glad because we how are we going into, like, when we got the topic, it was how are we going into 2021, and however this unfolded, we have yielded ourselves to the process, because both Coco and I are determined to find the victories and the opportunities in the crisis, and help each other through it. And it's important that you have people in your life that are iron sharpeners, because no matter how strong you are, and especially those of you, and I see the people that are tuned in here right now on the live, people forget that you too feel pain. Mm-hmm. Because you're going and you're smiling and you're going through, and many people are still, you're talking on Clubhouse, you're hosting rooms, you're going to work, you're up here with me, and everybody thinks it's a bright sunshiny day, but you've been intentional in what you're doing, but you've made sure that you have people that sharpen you in your life. So before we go to the iron sharpeners that is going to help us navigate 2021, the 5-foot post. I just want to, I think this might be, and you let me know, I think this might be a nice caveat into how do you get into 2021, because what is that 5-foot post? And Jordan did this piece, and you have shared this piece so many times. So if you're okay with sharing the 5-foot post.
Oh, well, you're putting me on the spot there. But so Jordan would start like this. So there was an African elephant chilling out in the jungle, doing his thing. And he said, all of a sudden he heard 2 gunshots. Blow, blow. He looked over and his parents were dying on the ground and their tusks were being sawn off. And this little baby elephant was taken onto a boat, a rope tied around its throat, and pushed overseas and sent into the circus, where he was tied to a 5-foot post. No matter how hard this elephant tried to tug away from the 5-foot post, he could not break free. The post was so stronger than he. And that 5-foot post can be many different things in our lives that we are tied to. Eventually, the elephant grew and became a 10-ton beast. And yet, every night, they still tied this elephant to the
5-foot post.
That's right. And so what was it about that 5-foot post? How do you tame an elephant? You tame his mind. You get him to believe in the phrase, I can't. You bellow out the bellows. I can't even do it the way he did it. He was a masterful spoken word poet. But the idea here is getting him to believe in the phrase, I can't. When they were young, when he pulled against that rope and it cut down deep into its throat, it hit a nerve and his knees would buckle. And so it learned this lesson. This 5-foot post is stronger than me. And no matter how big it got later in its life, it had already been trained to stay tied to that 5-foot post. So the question that he would ask at the end of that poem was, so what 5-foot post are you tied to, and have you outgrown it?
Come on now. What is that 5-foot post?
Yeah. What 5-foot post are you tied to? What are some things from your childhood that hurt you, that made you believe in the phrase, I can't, or I'm not good enough, or
I can't do this anymore.
I can't do this anymore. These are 5-foot posts. No one loves me.
I don't have the education.
I don't have all of these things. I'm stupid. I'm not good enough. So we have to untie ourselves. That elephant could have ripped that 5-foot post when it was 10 tons and whipped it back to Africa from whence that elephant came. But until you free the mind, right? Until we free our mind, mental emancipation is what we need.
Yeah.
Right, don't make me start trying to sing Bob Marley, because I can't do
it. I have the song somewhere here. I have the version that I like, and so what are those 5-foot posts from 2020 that you have carried into 2021? Mm-hmm. And what do you need to release yourself of from 2020 so that you can have the victories in 2021?
Yeah. Recognizing that we have grown. That's a post-traumatic growth.
Yes.
Right. So in the children's book that I wrote, there's this little baby elephant. I've taken him on a journey. It's called Geordie the Brave and the 5-foot Post. And he gets into the circus and he learns how to balance on a ball, right? That's what the elephants do. And at the end of the children's book, he decides to use the pain and transform it into power. And he doesn't balance on the ball like he learned in the circus. He actually balances on top of the 5-foot post, and the post breaks.
Mm.
So the very thing that he was afraid of doing, the very thing that caused him pain, now became his freedom.
Mm. Right.
Because your pain can actually become weapons to defeat the pain itself. Because you have these things like resilience and strength. He developed this little baby elephant who grew into a big elephant, developed the skill to stand on something very wobbly and very much smaller than him with all of its weight.
Yes.
And so that post, right, he was able to stand on that post with all of its weight. So, the idea of recognizing that pain can be transformed into power.
Yeah.
And those power is that resilience and the compassion that we have for other people, and an rich, deep understanding that we get from things like trauma.
I love it. Serena is like, wow, your pain can become the weapon to destroy the pain. Yeah, it is so true. And, and this is one of our intentions here, even in this conversation today. And as we move forward into our new year, is as we help each other, we want to help everyone that tunes in and that takes the time to find those moments, to recognize that, yes, what really is failure? Is there such a thing as failure? Mm-hmm. Like when you look at that word failure, because so many people are looking at, even from their past life and coming into this, I didn't do this well. How do you deal with whether it's failure, rejection? How do you deal with that?
I say congratulations.
Come on.
Mistakes are just masterpieces in the making.
Mm.
And there's sometimes more lessons in the failure than there is in the success. Right. Yeah. And I know these are fancy words that we can just say, but ultimately, if we make mistakes and we're like, okay, wait, I did that wrong. Next time I'm not going to do that. And then I can look at someone else and recognize, wait a second, they're going to make the same mistake. So guess what? Let me tell you not to do it that way. Now you're just taking that mistake. You've grown, post-traumatic growth, because now you're not going to repeat that same mistake again once you become fully aware of it. Right. And then you may be able to warn someone else. And that's really when when mistakes turn into masterpieces, because now it's become you've become a master. and at recognizing red flags. You know, if you've had unhealthy relationships, for example, now you know backwards and forwards what an unhealthy relationship looks like, smells like,
Yes.
tastes, tastes like, so on and so forth. So then eventually you'll learn how to cut those habits and choose healthy relationships, and then you can become a relationship coach, right? If you get the training and the support and that kind of thing, and you
So
build
it's how you
yourself up.
look at it. So what you're saying to me here, it's all about perspective,
Yeah.
because you can take that same thing with, as we talked about with grief earlier, is you can take those same things that people, or you may say to yourself, it's a failure or it's a mistake, but it's what you do with it and how you can. So what would be one of the tools that can help you like look at it in a different way, help someone look at it in a different way?
Well, this is what I was talking to my coach about this evening. He's like, you're not on trial.
Ooh, Coco, you are not on trial. Hey,
You're not being arrested. You're not being arrested. You're not being charged. You're not being, you're not in a holding cell. You're not on the witness stand. There is no judge. There is no jury. You are not on trial. But we make other people our judge and our jury. And then we're trying to prove our innocence.
I'm speechless right now because that was so good.
Right? I'm telling you. When he said that to me today in our training session, he goes, "Yes, but Coco, you're not on trial." I was like, "What you talking about, Willis?"
That is like a free, like the hearts that are going up here. That is freeing because we're judging ourselves. We're allowing others to judge us. The world is judging us. We're looking at ourselves through the eyes of others. We're looking at ourselves through the eyes of social media.
Yeah, there's all these judges. I judge myself. Imagine, picture yourself. There's 3 versions of yourself, okay? You're the arresting officer, okay? You're also the prosecuting attorney. You're also the defending attorney. You're also in the stand. You're also the judge, and you're also sitting in the jury.
Damn. Come on now.
What if I just walked out the courtroom and said, I am not on trial? I'm not on trial.
I am not on trial. Serena's like, drop the mic. She's walked out the door. She's gone. She's out of here.
I am not on trial. And that is my theme for this year. When my mistakes come up in that car with the sirens, Nicole, you're under arrest for a crime. I was like, I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
I'm not on trial.
If I did something wrong, I will confess.
Yeah.
And I will say, forgive me. And I will pay my dues. I will. I'll take it on the chin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I will take responsibility for what I did wrong.
Because it's the power of your choices. It's what you do with it.
But the difference between responsibility and blame is responsibility is your ability to respond to something. Blame is an identity thing where now I'm taking blame and now that's filled with shame, right? So I'm not going to blame myself, but I will take responsibility, which is my ability to respond to a thing. And if I have to say sorry, I'm going to say forgive me. I'm going to say forgive me. And what can I do to make it better? How can I improve moving forward? And then my coach said to me this. His name is Jamone. Oh my goodness, he's just the most amazing coach. He said to me, "You can go back and what did he say? He said, I can't live there with you anymore. If somebody brings up your past." Right? Somebody brings up your past and is trying to put you on trial. I'm not on trial. I can't live in the past with you anymore. I do apologize. How can we move forward in the future to make sure it's better? How can I just make sure that this mistake stops with me, that I break the generational curse, that we heal from it versus wallow in it? Right? And that we recognize the path forward to a new future. I really can't stay in that past with you, but I can help you to grow. Let's try on post-traumatic growth. versus because somebody's opinion of me, including my own, is not a guilty verdict.
Ooh. Say that again.
Someone's negative opinion of me is not a guilty verdict. If we're using trial as a way, because are we on trial on this earth? So someone says, well, you did this wrong and you did that wrong. Yes, I did. Yes, I absolutely did that wrong. I apologize.
And you own it.
And then you validate the person's feelings and how did that make you feel? And that must have been awful. And you know what? I don't blame you for being mad at me because I did that. How can I help you heal? How can I show up for you? Do you need space? Do you need time? Do you need counseling? Do you need, if you've hurt someone? This is me responding, taking responsibility, honing in on my responsibility. And then I'm learning to forgive myself. So then I take myself out of the judge's seat, out of the jury seat, out of the prosecuting attorney's seat. And I say, I am not on trial today for me or anybody else. I don't have to prove my innocence. And if it's a lie that somebody's believing about me, I can say to this person, wow, I'm really sorry you feel that way. And if that was true, I don't blame you for being mad at me. But I can't live there with you. I'm not on trial. I got to go. And I keep seeing myself walking out of the courtroom. And they're like, we call Coco LaRain Viera to the stand. Coco LaRain.
Oh, God.
Coco LaRain Viera. Can somebody please go and check if she's in the hallway? I'm out. I'm going to the Ritz.
Putting on the Ritz.
Put it on the Ritz, baby.
Where don't you go? Where fashion fits, girl. We're putting on the Ritz.
In my red bottoms.
In my red bottom, girl. I wish I could have on some red bottoms. I'm just gonna get me a pair of shoes and putting some red bottoms on it.
No. With all the courses that you're going to be selling this year and all the books that you're going to be writing, you're gonna get your red bottoms, baby. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, because I heard there's some comfortable shoes. They're not just high; they're comfortable.
But here's the thing, right? We put ourselves on trial so much that we deny our freedom. We sentence ourselves to a life of poverty and pain and regret and shame, and we stand in front of holding these bars, and there's no building behind us, because there is no jail, but we hold on to these bars as if we're in prison. We sentence ourselves to a lifestyle of I can't and I shouldn't because I shouldn't have, and regret and fear, and we can't live the life that we're called and we're destined to live because we have actually sentenced ourselves to poverty. We've sentenced ourselves to, you know what, I just don't deserve.
What have you sentenced yourself to? Because as you're old, listen here, if I want to be jumping up, but I know I'm in front of a camera. I got to be sitting down. I'm trying to control myself here. And I'm trying not to go into my Trinidadian accent because like some people wouldn't understand what I'm saying, because just like, listen here. People are holding us on trial, and then we're holding ourselves on trial. So it's almost, and it's not supposed to be double jeopardy, but it's coming in the left ear and it's coming in the right ear.
Check this out.
Come on now.
It's not even other people. I put the people in this judge's seat because if I'm trying to prove my innocence to somebody else, I've made them the judge.
Somebody give me a mic. Let me drop it. Somebody give me a mic. Let me drop. Coco LaRain Viera. If you are just tuning in, welcome. We are in the second part of the conversation. This is Nicole and Coco, and we are talking about how we're going into 2021.
I'm going into 2021. The trial, there is no trial. Like, okay, we go through trials and tribulations.
Right.
But I'm not on trial.
We go through, somebody type that out. We go through trials and tribulations, but we're not on trial. Come on now.
I might be in a trial, but I'm not on trial.
And that shifts your perception. That takes you into how you can see the opportunities in the crisis. That takes you how to see victory. And that's what people don't get. They keep looking at this big thing, and they're not taking these little things along the way and adding it up.
That's right. I am not on the witness stand. I am giving a testimony.
And it,
there's a difference between being called into court to give a testimony and being called into court as your own witness.
girl, you like, I'm so glad I'm your friend. I'm so glad you're my mentor, and I'm so glad you're my life coach. I am so glad right now. And I hope you know what? I don't care what stage in your life you are. If you're not finding some nuggets in here, I don't know. I'm like, Sarah's typing. Sarah's like, and Serena just going for the goal. We go through trials and tribulations, but we are not on trial. I'm telling you.
That's right. I don't have to prove my innocence to anybody. Now, here's the thing, right? When I was a child, I was sexually abused and my innocence was robbed of me. And maybe perhaps my goal of trying to please people all the time was me trying to get back my innocence. Right? Listen. So I have to recognize, when did I lose my innocence? Is that something that I could even lose?
I'm so glad my hair is like this tonight, because I might have to my hair out. I don't know about you guys listening. And
because who am I trying to prove my innocence to? Who am I trying to prove my innocence to? I lost my virginity at the age of 14 to a family member. And ever since then, I've been trying to prove my innocence. The shame that we put on women for not being virgins. You've lost your innocence. Don't make me sir. I almost went Ross.
Hey.
I try not to swear. No, you can't lose your innocence.
Listen, okay.
My innocence is not something that can be lost. I am innocence. I am this innocent, pure being of light. I am energy, having a very traumatically painful, but also beautifully wonderful human experience. And if part of that experience was going through abuse so that I could help somebody else, then I did not lose my innocence then, and I don't have to prove my innocence now. I am an innocent being having a human experience.
I am an innocent being, hear it, having a human experience. I'm going to say that again. I am an innocent being, and I'm going to be in this experience. Listen, people, if, you know, those who had an ear to hear, heard the call to hear this show today, whether you're on the live, on the replay, I don't know if it's happening for you, but I'm glad I tuned in. If I'm glad I tuned in.
We both have to tune into our own shows.
Come on now. You know, I'm almost feeling, I don't know. I'm putting myself on the spot here, and I'm putting Coco on the spot here, but it feels like we need to have our own. We need to do, like, either it's a bi-weekly chat together or a monthly series where we talk together, because even though I'm going to have other guests on, and, you know, we're going to talk about what's going to happen in the new year, this conversation, just like our conversations that we have, is so special. And so if you want Coco and Nicole to have their own show, help us find the sponsors, because we this show right here.
The Coco and Nicole show.
That's Nicole cool. Show. Just saying, like, there's so much that so much to talk about, and if you don't understand after listening to this, the power of having someone who sharpens you in your life. And like, you're not on trial. Listen, I do not have to prove my innocence to anybody. I hope this is freeing for so many of us, because, you know, my friend Joan Pierre, who's on the line here somewhere listening, I remember meeting her as a teenager, and as I grew with Joan, I learned so much from Joan, and I saw her evolve when she moved from her 40s to her 50s to her 60s to her 70s, and she became freer and freer and freer, because it's like she was just peeling off the onions of all the people that had stuff to say, and like, she doesn't even keep negative people in her life. If
the minute I met Miss Joan Pierre, I was like, this woman is not on trial. She never has been, and she never will. But you can walk into a room, and everybody could be chatting about her, but not that they are. But she's like, I'm not on trial,
girl.
She has that I am not on trial vibe. I love that woman.
Yes, so true.
The way she walks into the room is like the essence of not being on trial. Like, I don't have anything to prove to anybody, right? I'm just gonna sit here and be cute. You're welcome. You get the chance to see my face.
Listen, you have pinned her down to a T.
Right.
And so as we go into this year, it's the 4th day. Even in 4 days, what have you learned? Because I know, what have you learned in 4 days that has even shifted your thinking or enlightened your thinking or moved you to another space of enlightenment?
That I'm enough. And I learned that on Clubhouse.
So people, pause for the cause. If you don't know what Clubhouse is, I'm sorry. Now, Clubhouse, unfortunately and fortunately, it's in beta testing, so it's only available to those who have iPhones. And it is basically an interactive podcast. It's like if you were here with Coco and myself, and then you could chime into the conversation, not just with your written comments. You can have the ability to come up on stage and come onto the house and start, having the conversation. So the conversation becomes brighter. You have the opportunity to network with individuals. We're learning from so many people who are, Damon John from Shark Tank was giving a talk this morning at whatever time last night about public speaking. People are talking about, we were in a conversation before this on the power of choices. Mm-hmm. You hosted a conversation this week about transforming your pain into power.
Yeah.
And so much is happening on Clubhouse, but if that we could just have a conversation on Clubhouse. So we'll talk about that another time. But because of that, you were saying.
Yeah. So showing up on Clubhouse, I'm a conversationalist. I love to speak, just in case you didn't know. And I like to use these little words of nuggets. I am a poet. And so I like to string words together that rhyme to help people to remember. Right. Yeah. And so on that space, I'm able to do that. And it's so fulfilling. And the response that I'm getting is absolutely wonderful. I've missed being on the stage because of COVID-19. My business kind of was pushed over to the side and is on hold because of COVID-19. I usually going into the schools and that kind of thing. Nobody's holding any conferences. So this has given me the ability to be able to speak again and to share. And it's been such a beautiful godsend and to build your tribe and that kind of thing. So it's been a lovely experience. I just went out and bought a used iPhone and I use it on my Wi-Fi at home. Mm-hmm. I still have a Samsung, and if I could go back to BlackBerry, I would. But it's worth it for networking, for tribe building, and for connecting, and for learning, and for just hanging out. So I've learned that I'm enough. And now that I've gotten this thing this evening from my coach that I'm not on trial, because for the last month I've been saying somebody's a negative opinion of me is not a guilty verdict. And then he puts icing on the cake because you're not on trial.
Right. Listen.
And so that to me is how I'm going into 2021. I'm no longer on trial. I've realized that I've spent 40 years on trial.
You freed me tonight. I thought I was out of jail, but I think this year that was my 5-foot post moment for me. I am not on trial. And I have to take myself off a trial for my own self and from the opinion of others. Because so many people have said, don't worry about the opinion of others. But sometimes you need that extra.
I didn't know, what do you mean? How do I don't worry about that? But I realized the reason why I worried about it was because I put them in the judge's seat. I put them in the jury seat. Their opinions mattered more to me than my own, or than the evidence of the success that I've had all these years. And I would have people saying, I love you. And I didn't quite believe them. I would have people saying positive things, but it was always measured by this judge that was always on the channel going, yeah, well, what about your ex-husband? What about your 3 divorces? What about your teenage pregnancy? What about the fact that your son just passed away? What about the fact that you still don't have all the money that you want? What about the fact that what about this COVID-19? This judge, she's a trip.
A heck of a trip. She needs to shut up.
She can tell Judge Judy off.
Come on now. And you see, this is the okay. So, one of the things I know we both recognize is you really have to recognize what is the voice in your head. What are you saying to yourself? And no matter what age you are, because some people have tied their identity to what they do. Like COVID like I say, even though there's some really bad things that have happened in this COVID-19 virus, this virus has revealed that we have made our identity about what we do and not who we are. So when we can be the lawyer, the event planner, the singer, the dancer, the whatever, and we have to use the P word, pivot,
Yeah.
I say the P word should be pivot with perspective. Ooh, that's good. I'm going to make a t-shirt. Do not take this idea. We're pivoting with perspective. What's the perspective you're pivoting with?
That's right.
You can, no matter what age you are, no matter where you are, people are losing their homes. People are losing stuff.
But we keep coming to this judge with all this evidence. Look at my degree. Look at my job title. Look at my house. Look at my car. Look at my boobs. Look at my red bottoms. These are all evidence that I'm good. These are all evidence that I'm innocent. These are all evidence that people are going to like me. They're going to believe me. The judge is going to love me, and that I'm not going to be sentenced to to this guilty verdict. We bring all this evidence in there, but we don't need. If you're not on trial, you don't need evidence.
Yep. I like, thanks, Serena. So, listen, these guys are on point today. They're typing for me, pivoting with perspective. Love it. We're going to sell the shirt. We are going to sell the shirt. We have made, and thank you, Sarah. We have made our identity about what we do, not who we are. And it is so true. And we have to stop doing that. We have, for me at least, and I know Coco agrees with me, it's your assignment. We're here to complete your assignment. And what is your assignment here today? And your purpose when you're in your 20s is different than what it was in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, because it's, to me, my summation of it is purpose is what you do on your way to fulfilling destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And the vision statement that you wrote for yourself 10 years ago is going to be different than the vision statement that you're writing for yourself right now, because things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we talk about this, the importance of finding vision and writing vision, because we say write the vision, make it plain. We have ideas, and you have had this gift. I'm telling you, people, if you need sometimes you need a life coach. Everybody needs an accountability person, not the person that is going to just give you a clap and shout you on and validate you. You need the people that will hold you accountable, even when you are not feeling the best or not doing the best, but do it with love. And so why is it important for you to have an iron sharpener in your life? What does that look like for you?
Well, for me, it's when, whether I'm using my sword or not, it gets dull.
Come on now. Yes.
Right. And so when I have somebody in my life that is my mirror, that's sharpening me, then I can cut through the pain. Mm-hmm. I can cut through the worries and the fears, because they're keeping me sharp.
Right.
And when I sharpen someone else, it also is sharpening me.
Yes.
It's automatically sharpening me. So my sharpening comes from sharpening. Yes. Iron sharpening iron. So when my iron sharpener sharpens me, I get sharpened and they get sharpened, because whatever word I speak is for me too, right? And then when and vice versa. And so it's this beautiful relationship, right? Fair exchange is not robbery. And there are moments when I feel really dull, which I'm feeling depressed, and I know who to call, who that's going to take out their, and they're my witnesses. Mm-hmm. That will say, hey, first of all, you shouldn't be on trial, but I have something for you, and I know I don't want to veer back to what we were saying before, but I had another thought that came to me.
Go ahead.
Take other people off trial as well.
Ooh. That's the whole forgiveness thing. That's the whole moving forward thing. That's the whole.
Yep. That's a tough one, because I've been standing in judgment.
No, that's the whole thing about blaming others for your lack of being successful. We need to take. Okay, people, I'm going to lower my voice down a bit, because the Trinidadian in me, I just get excited. Sorry, not sorry. We need to take other people off trial. Now that, beloved, is huge.
Yeah. Because your ex is on trial, your dad's on trial, your mom's on trial, your neighbor's on trial, your boss is on trial, everybody's on trial. You're busy. Could you imagine if everybody in your life is on trial, how much paperwork you have to gather as this lawyer that's trying to prosecute everybody?
And then you got all that stuff in your head, and you can't even move. It's creating a quagmire of mess, and it's like you're in this quicksand.
Yeah. And so my iron sharpener pulls me out of the quicksand. My iron sharpener takes me out of the courtroom. My iron sharpener is a mirror. They show me who I am. My iron sharpener also gives me very, very much comfort. I'm talking about you.
Stop it now.
Yes, I'm talking about you. So this conversation has been wonderful.
It has, and we're gonna need a part 2 of this conversation. We need to look at Serena. We need to take people off trial. I can tell. You see, what you are actually experiencing is how we talk. This is how we talk every day. And sometimes we have to make sure and put a time limit on our conversations because we talk like this every day.
And we decided we're going to start to have these conversations online because we're being very greedy with these nuggets. They're not just for us; they're for our sister friends, for our tribe, for people who watch. And that's what's so brilliant about the concept of inspired conversations under the umbrella of Victory Speaks. Because you knew that you were going to have these conversations with the brilliant iron sharpeners in your world, and you knew that you wanted to share that with the world. And so congratulations, mission accomplished. You are doing well, Miss Nicole Karen Virginia Waldron, the mental health fitness coach. The Iron Sharpens Iron mission is on point as you teach people how to live a victorious lifestyle.
This is why she's my life coach, people.
Mm-hmm. And wait till she creates her course and starts breaking down the victory formula. Ooh, child.
Thank you, Miss.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, things will get brighter. That's what's going to happen when they start tuning in to your Victory Speaks podcast, but also the Victory Speaks courses and, the Lifestyle Victory book. I'm excited, and we're going to just do it one step at a time, one moment at a time, one word at a time, one sentence at a time, one experience at a time. Because why? We're good enough. We don't have to rush because we're not on trial. It's good enough as it is because we're not on trial. We are in purpose.
Ooh.
We're not on trial. We are in purpose.
Next shirt. We are not on trial. We are in purpose. So, right. Coco, now sometimes you guys may see my face looking down. It's because I follow my own darn advice. I walk with my pen and paper and I write stuff down because I have no intention of not writing stuff down, because this young brain here, even though she's in her 50s, about to be 52 in 2 days or 3 days, knows that sometimes she forgets and need reminders. And these are the affirmation pieces. And this comes back to the pieces of the tools that we need to have. And before I go to the tools, I just want to say thank you, Coco, for validating me, for helping me unpack a lot of what I have been trying to do and wanting to do for a very long time, and investing in me. And Sarah Oyango, she's good. She's just going to crack me up. This is going to crack you up. Did you see what she said? Victory
Speaks is emotional vitamins. That's right. That is right.
Oh, Sarah, I love you. I love you. And
yeah, it is. And I'm so excited. I'm going to be creating a course. It's called Speak Your Pain into Power. And it's helping people to tell their trauma stories with style. I'm really excited about that because as I said, I've been speaking for 30 years. And now I feel ready to train other trauma-informed speakers to be able to do their thing. Because
you did on
that's where the nuggets today? That's where the nuggets are coming from, huh?
That piece you did on Clubhouse about telling your trauma story with style, that was off the chain.
Yeah. So we've got more to come. Definitely more to come. More inspired conversations, and the inspired by. I was going to say the Inspired by Coco podcast. That's mine. That's not. It's inspired by the Victory Speaks podcast. Thank you.
Yes, you're hilarious.
I have to get my children, my grandchildren, to bed now, so it's time for me to sign off. But
I'm just so glad that you took the time, and for all of those who are tuned in, remember to take your tools. And Coco, if you can tell people how they can find you.
Everything is Coco LaRain Viera. It's my Instagram, my LinkedIn. Instagram is probably the best place, to reach me. And then try to peek in on Clubhouse. Where so far I'm running the Speak Your Pain into Power training for trauma informed speakers on Saturdays at 6:00 in the evening. And so if you can get on to Clubhouse, that would be great. Eventually, I will be putting some stuff on YouTube, and I'll be developing a course that people can actually purchase and that kind of thing. But yeah, I am excited about 2021.
Wait a second. We got to get a picture. I don't know if anybody's out there to take a screenshot, but we need a screenshot of this conversation. I'm just going to take a picture with my phone. Smile, Coco. And I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, and Coco for you being here. And I'm going to let you go as I wind up the conversation. Want to make sure that everyone has some tools that they can be with. I know you got to put the grandchildren to bed, so I am so grateful for you. So thank you for tuning in, and I'm going to make sure and play Jordan on the replay. So show Coco some love with your hearts and with your, your comments. If you have any questions that you would like us to answer in the future, live and on the replay, we are just so grateful for you, Coco. Thank you so, so much. And thank you for tuning in, everyone. So I am just going to leave you with this. And Coco, I know Coco is gone, so thank you, Coco. So there's some tools I want to leave you with for 2021 as you go into your new year. Coco gave us so many nuggets, and all those things are affirmations. Find the affirmations, put it on a piece of paper. We are not on trial, we are on purpose. Find those affirmations, make those affirmation cards. The people that are dropping nuggets in your lives, your iron sharpeners. If you have some nuggets, share it on social media. I encourage you all here to follow each other. Everybody who's been tuned into this conversation has been so amazing. One of the nuggets I got this year was to find a box. You can find a box, you can find a bottle, you can find whatever it is. And every week, write down your victory and put it in something. And then you can take it out whenever you need it. This is me on butterflies, right? We're going to do something on the butterflies on transformation one day and the importance of it. And so every week, just find that jar and put that thought down. And in 2021, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be doing some new things. Anyone here, I am going to do a random draw. It's my first draw ever. And one of the things that I did this year, I want to work on some face masks and with some branding. But the branding that I did this year, and hopefully you can see it, and if not, I'll drop it in the comments, is me. I love Kamala Harris, but as Caribbean people, as Black people, we always say, excuse me, I'm speaking. It's something. So that didn't just come from Kamala. That came from everybody. So I had some face masks that I made. Excuse me, I'm speaking. Isn't this cute? And I'm speaking dope. I'm speaking smart. I'm speaking beautiful. So these two are mine. So that's why I can hold them. But if you would like the possibility of winning one of these, or maybe a pair of these, drop a nugget of wisdom. Share it with us so that we can share with others. And then I'll do a draw and somebody's going to win this. Write somebody an encouraging note. It is so important in this season and in this time. I encourage you to be intentional. Be so intentional with what you're doing, everyone. It is so important in this season. Have those inspired conversations. I am so grateful that so many of you took the time to tune in today. And I just want to leave you with a few thoughts as I wind up this year for me. My year starts, for me personally, it starts on Thursday as I celebrate my son and my birthday. And, last year our birthday was very different. It was a really rocky time. And We really didn't have a really good birthday last year. So I'm very intentional on the birthday that we're going to have this year. And, encourage someone with a smile. Really stop and listen and see how people are doing. And this is the word I have for you this year. May this new year for you be filled with lots of victorious moments, days, weeks, and months, which ultimately make it a truly victorious new year. I want to say to you, Happy New Year. This year, as we work together towards the fulfillment of our own personal goals, let us all remember to lift each other up and support one another, as together we can. In this new year, let us be intentional to be kinder and to be truly loving, agape loving, unconditional loving to each other. This year, as we walk in the fulfillment of our destinies. Coco said it, you are not on trial. Your loved ones are not on trial. May you experience love, joy, peace, and prosperity in all areas of your life. It's a new season. It's a new year. Stand in the truth of who you are. Be forever grateful for life today. I am Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory. May you walk in good health and in your purpose with joy. May you achieve more. I believe for you in this year that this will be a brighter year for you. This will be a year when you really find your victories in the small and big moments. Keep your eyes on the star. Look up. Don't look to the left or the right. Open your ears to hear where you're directed. Now, if you know of anyone that you think that should be on here, or you yourself think that you have an inspired conversation that you would like to share with me and with others, let me know. We're going to have some new series. We're going to be getting Trini with it. We're going to be celebrating in 2021 our icons in time now. We're not going to wait for them to pass on and celebrate them. So there are going to be some really interesting things I'm going to try and have in the new year. We're going to do some conversations on Instagram. Follow me at Victory Speaks on Instagram and on Twitter. Here on Facebook. We're going to be uploading all these shows also to YouTube. And I am also looking for some interns because I've been doing this by myself all of 2020, trying to figure it out, trying to navigate the process. So if you know of a young person or anyone who is looking to be an intern, shoot me a DM. Together we can, or looking to collaborate, because there's so many ways that we can collaborate together. I want to be showcasing, especially in February, Black business owners and sharing some of our history, of our carnival, where it came from, our music. So, and our artists. I'm going to be bringing on some artists in 2021. They're going through their own challenge, their own void of not being able to perform. So in 2021, and if you have an idea that you would like for me to share and talk about, be sure to drop it with me. We vibing. So I am so grateful for all of you that have tuned in today to Victory Speaks. It is an honor to be here. It's an honor to speak with you. This is where iron is going to sharpen iron. And we will, Coco said it, you will hear the Victory Speaks formula. We've broken it down about vision and what that should look for you, what victory looks like for you. So stay tuned. And may God bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you and keep you all in his perfect peace. It's been great. I'm gonna do my outro with Jordan's music and keep your money up, Oh no, that was not the right one. That was the wrong tune. Hold on. I played the wrong tune. I played the wrong tune. Hey, this is what happens when you're live. Bye everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Just got paid. Singing your money up. Victory. Let your victory speak. Hey. Thank you for the birthday love. Oh, and we're going to have a birthday party on Clubhouse. I'm going to be launching my room on Clubhouse on January 7th. So join us there. If you want to know more, seek me out. Hey. Have a great day, people. Have a great week. Hey. Hey. Sorry about the love that I forgot to show you. I was stretched. Think about life in the West, where your heartbeat tries to stifle your chest. Thanks, Serena. Thanks, Auntie Amory. Thanks, Mediza, for tuning in. Thanks. Oh, Mediza did my mask. Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you, Sarah, for tuning in. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Wendy. All those that have tuned in. If I missed your name, thank you, Joan. Thank you for everybody that tuned in tonight. I love you. Peace.